Hello, everybody. Here we are again. Happy to be back for episode 11 of Elrond Talks. I hope everyone out there is doing great, and you're here for another great talk to talk about some more builders on the Elrond network, which we all know we love builders. So here we are today. We have Viktor Martinovski, the CTO of the Black Hat Network. So without any further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it and let him introduce himself.
Hey Kevin, thanks for inviting me over. I'm glad to be here. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Viktor and I'm from Macedonia. I'm the CEO of CodeVix and the CTO of Black Hat Network. If I can talk about like my background, I started with programming 11, 12 years ago, and that was with the standard Iron Python scripting. I was creating leveling scripts for a gaming software at the time, and then after a while, I ended up with object-oriented programming languages like Visual Basic, where I was actually creating some basic programs. I was testing stuff around, and then I ended up with C Sharp, where I'm actually using it until this day. And like a small tip, the Black Hat agent that's actually controlling our two Telegrams groups are being the bot itself is being developed based on C Sharp. So yeah, the bot is actually talking two different languages, Romanian and English. So yeah, uh, that will be my side.
That's awesome. The Visual Basic stuff, that's actually really funny. My background, I did a course in Visual Basic, and I made this I made the calculator first, the classic calculator. I made the notepad, and then I made this like really cool 3D maze. But yeah, after that, I kind of just moved away into kind of the front end languages, PHP and whatnot. So
Everybody starts with the calculators.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's the basic of everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I cheated a bit. I found some stuff online or whatever. Don't tell my professor.
Yeah, well, there's one saying that says like copying a code costs $1, but knowing which code to copy costs $1,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so before we get going here, uh, before we get going, we do have a tradition here on Elrond Talks, and that's just to prove that you're not a robot. So if you can, uh, tell us something about yourself that isn't about digital or any of that sort of stuff.
Oh, well, that's a pretty tough question. So yeah, my hobby, like the thing that I love to do aside than programming and being into the digital world, it's traveling. But unfortunately, due to the COVID crisis, I've been pretty restricted and limited to travel abroad. So in the last like year and a half, I've been mostly just hiking, going to the mountains, and I've been just traveling to different areas of my country, trying to see and exploring, discovering as many beautiful places as I can. And it's really sad that I found so many beautiful things in my country, and I have never ever thought of actually going there in the past. I actually didn't know they even existed. So yeah, like that's my biggest thing that I've ever like dreamed of. I'm just traveling all the time. I love to travel. I've been all around Europe, and lately, as I said, due to the crisis, I've been mostly like coding, and I'm an artificial intelligence enthusiast. So nothing else in the last year and a half. So that's pretty much it. Just traveling, seeing
Okay.
the nature.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's great. I think we're all travelers, and I think the community out there is all looking forward to a Elron meetup at some point. So hopefully
Yeah,
we'll all be able to meet in real life eventually. Um,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
Sure.
so let's just get into it. And so let's start off first off. I just want to know why you started working with blockchain in general and why Elron.
Well, actually, there are like pretty like there are a lot of reasons why we ended up on the blockchain. So we had a really long discussion with the core team members and the team members, like the whole team. So as you all know, the current fiat marketplaces that are are having really problems with the fees and transaction times and the withdrawals and stuff like that. So we were talking of how to uh, of what kind of system we can use to make everything easier for all the freelancers, because we all started like a freelancers. We are like half of our team are members of the Black Hat World Forum. I don't know whether you have heard of it, but it's like a digital marketing forum, and half of us are actually, we met on the forum itself. We've been discussing a lot of ideas in the past. For example, I've known Eddie and Sugata, which is the other developer, for many years, and we've been part of the freelancers on the Black Hat World Forum, which we ended up not being so active there since we started working on the plan of our marketplace. So that's like the actual reason why we started on the blockchain. It's the first. I would like to focus on three main things. So the first thing will be security, the second thing will be the fees, and the third thing will be the fairness that we can have through our marketplace. So if we talk about the security, it's pretty much, we all know how is Elrond created, the signature transactions, like the logging through the custodial wallets. Like if we try talking about the Meyer login here, so we wanted to create a decentralized marketplace on the actual on a blockchain that will have low fees, that will be pretty safe and secure, and that will be able to provide fairness to all the freelancers that will be part of the marketplace. So
Yeah.
regarding, yeah, so yeah, if we talk about the fees, we actually all know about the fiat marketplaces. So it's like they're charging 10 to 20% for everything that's happening on their platform, whether that is like the fees for managing the platform, the server costs, and then the standard banking and payment processors that are taking additional 5 to 10% for processing the payments. And then, for example, if you withdraw the money to PayPal, they're getting another hair of fees just because they help you receive the money. And then at the end, uh, you will want to probably exchange the USD to euros, and they will end up charging you extra money just for the exchange.
Yeah.
And for example, if you have $100 of a transaction, you end up having $50 or $60 at the end. So you actually will have to do 40% more work to achieve the very same thing for what you have actually charged at the first time. So by using the blockchain, we are able to waive all of those fees, like up to 18 with our calculation and the plan that we are actually preparing, the action plan. It's massive. We have a lot of ABC ideas. We have different scenarios that we will focus, that we will actually follow if something happens in between, and we are still developing it. But
Yeah, and like I mean, Elrond being low fees and having the fee structure that it does, it lends you uh, a lot of room to actually deal with the actual money transfers. And
yeah,
like with freelancer
yeah,
websites, so my background, I've owned a digital agent or own a digital agency for that matter, and I've used freelancer as both I've used freelancer websites just as a freelancer and as an agency, and yeah, you the agency's getting nailed with fees, the freelancer's getting nailed with fees, and then the agency has to pay taxes, the freelancer needs to pay taxes, and then there's all those conversions all in between, and it's really hard to make money and to actually be able to yeah, live off of a freelancer website because they're the ones getting the lion's share of the money. And so I think what Black Hat's doing creating it out into this decentralized system on Elrond with the low fee structure is going to revolutionize the whole sphere. And you're going to find that there's going to be people out there that would have been in my position, or even people younger than me who are out there wanting to freelance, and they see this and they can save, that 20% fee plus all the other stuff on the back end. So it's actually a really powerful idea. So congratulations for that.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that the current transaction fee for on Elrond blockchain is like close to 1 cent based on the current price of $250. That's something that you can't get on 99% of the other chains. So that's what's been actually powering up the whole idea at the first moment. So it's like we will also be able to have instant withdrawals for people, for the freelancers. Once the payment is once the whole project is finished, people will be able to withdraw the funds within minutes, and not like the standard banking systems where you have to wait weeks or maybe even months if there is a long holiday or some summer breaks and stuff like that. So most of the freelancers want to have the money right now after the project is finished. So they want it now. They can't wait. That's how
Yeah, instant
we
settlement.
are.
Yeah, and
Instant,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
6 seconds, 6 seconds, right? So like
yeah.
with the settlement, and I think that kind of brings us into the next topic. And one of the main things that interests me the most is this escrow contract, escrow smart contract that you guys are making. So do you want to kind of let the people out there know about this escrow smart contract and why it's so revolutionary, and what it can do?
Well, I'll first start by saying that, as far as you know, there are no fiat marketplaces that are having their own custom escrow system out there. So there are most of them, like the ones that have some kind of an escrow system, they are using a third-party services, which they have to pay fees to be able to use the third-party service. So in our case, we are actually having the escrow middleman, which will be a smart contract relying on that will be actually uploaded on the chain, and it will actually act like a middleman between the buyer and the freelancer, which is actually the one that will be doing the actual job. And the escrow system by itself will work automatically. So it means that once the buyer send the money, they will go and will be stored on the smart contract storage. And then once the seller when the seller finished the project, he will be sending the request ID to the actual smart contract, and that kind of information at the end will be transferred to our off-chain database, so we can have all of the additional processes. So in this case, everything will be happening on the smart contract itself. So the only time when we are going to interact with the people here is if for some reason the seller or the buyer are not happy with the result of the opposite person. So at this time we are actually we are going to have a customer support, which will be which will play as an auditor right here. So for example, if the freelancer did not finish the job correctly, he missed some stuff, and the buyer is not happy with the actual work, he will be able to actually summon auditor that will help with the whole process. And here we are trying to make as much fairness as possible. So we will not be favorizing the buyers or the sellers separately, like, for example, PayPal is doing. I'm just getting PayPal
For sure.
in this.
But
Just a comparison.
Just a follow up. So what interaction will the buyer have to do in order to say, okay, let's say me being, like a web developer or something. I just build a basic corporate website for somebody, or I do a bit of SEO. And then I deliver that, and I send that ID to the smart contract. Then does the buyer have a chance to review my work before releasing the funds into the smart contract?
Yeah, so the idea is like we can't actually have a concrete a system that will be equal for everyone, because there are going to be freelancers that are going to, for example, do art. Like they can send an art picture with a watermark, and you can like 99% be sure that the work is just done without a problem. But then there's a freelancer that will do SEO services on your website, and that it's a process that it's not in few days. So at the time, like, if the buyer is not happy, then the auditor will have to go through all the details, and that's why at the end we will have to have some off-chain data that will be stored on our backend servers that will help us with all the process that's been happening between the buyer and the seller. And also the escrow system here, that's another thing that I want to add, will have an auto delivery system and code for some products, like for example ebooks or videos. And if you are a freelancer that's done some video and you want to resell it to many persons, if that person want to buy it, then he will just buy the book, and the funds will automatically transfer directly to the seller. I mean, it first will go to the escrow, but it will auto transfer to the seller without the need for any approval or waiting times. It will be pretty much like an instant purchase.
Right. That's awesome. So what about the incorporation? So here you have your escrow contracts, right? And say for that book, for example, right? Now let's say I put that book up, that ebook, how to do SEO in 2022, right? And someone comes in and buys it. They use the contract. But let's say someone wants to buy the rights from me, or wants to buy a portion of the rights. Let's say the two of us were to write this book. Would you be able to create an NFT that automatically pays us the dividend or the money separately? So I get 50%, you get 50%, and the contract handles that.
Well, that's a very interesting idea. We have never actually talked about that, about doing any NFT kind of processes here, but yeah, I think that doing something like that and implementing could really be beneficial for everyone. Like, we have not really had that in plan.
I think, yeah, I think the reason I'm thinking that is, like, what if the two of us were to enter into a project together, and the two of us then, we get awarded the job on Black Hat, and then the escrow, technically that money belongs to both of us, right? So do you become the custodian of that money, or do we both have kind of like an NFT or some kind of, even a script that would just route the money 50-50 to each of us?
Yeah, I mean, we can probably have something to be like a group kind of project. We've been discussing about connecting more than one account to do a project, but we didn't really talk with it to be as a kind of NFT, so you can actually have the rights for that product. We were only for now thinking and focusing to just have for the buyers to buy a particular product without having to have the rights for that particular thing. So, for example, if it's an ebook, if I write an ebook, I don't want to send you the rights for the whole thing. Maybe I want you just to be the reader, and that's it. So you don't have the right to resell it or redistribute it to other networks and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where my question is coming from. So in terms of the actual escrow contract itself, do you ever plan to create have it so that people can use it, or have your own kind of DApp that is outside of the Black Hat network, that it allows, say, me to go out and create an escrow for houses or for cars or for anything like that?
Okay, you just ruined my surprise. So yeah, the escrow system is like we are still developing it, because the smart contract by itself will be pretty complex. And once it's fully developed and finished, and of course tested and audited by our in-house guys, I'm quoting here Marius, and the other third-party auditors that we are going to hire to make everything that's secured and perfectly fine, then yes, we will actually make the smart contract available and free for everyone to use it on their own projects. And it will be a public available community. Like, the community gave us a lot in the past couple of months, including the Elrond development community. So yeah, we want to give something back to them by just having the smart contract, the escrow smart contract ready and available for everyone to use it on their own dApps and their own smart chain connections.
I think that's awesome. I think you guys are, Black Hat as a freelancer portal is huge, and I want to congratulate you guys on your recent pre-sale and everything. I don't want to really get into it much, but congratulations on it. And I
Thank you,
think
thank
the
you.
community's really rallied around this idea. But what really excites me is obviously this escrow contract. You can see my wheels spinning, because I think that's where some of the real power of the blockchain, and I mean specifically Elrond, um, uh, is going to come into play. And I can't thank you enough for eventually putting this out there, to where people can use it. I mean, it'll be public, but the fact that you'll let people use it and give people the rights to use it on their own projects to augment it, I think you're going to see that escrow contract pop up in a lot of places. I can already think of 10, 20 ways I could use it already. And so I just want to thank you from the community and from everyone out there for taking the time and actually building this, and building an escrow contract that's going to be huge value to the whole network.
We are all a team here, Kevin. So it's like it's the Web3. So the community matters here. It's not about anything else. The community, we are one, and we are building together.
Yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. It's all about the community. And yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's move forward. And so I have a few more questions. What advantages does developing on Elrond have over other chains? I know you've said in the past that you have 12 years experience programming, and now you're here with Elrond. We're happy to have you. Um, and what was it that you said, Elrond's the way for me to go?
Well, like the very first thing, as I already said, are the fees. So that's the first thing that actually triggered me right at the moment. So there are like very few blockchains out there that are having such a good proof of stake algorithm that's helping and having such a low fees at this time. So it's like with like they have Elrond have a really good performance. So like they can handle up to 15,000 of transactions per second, which is just amazing with the current setup. And the other thing is the speed. So we are talking about 6 seconds of block time, which is amazing.
Yep.
That's another feature that's awesome, and the speed and the transaction can actually scale up to 100, or I don't know, 263,000 in the testnet as they were doing
Yeah, those
a
days.
while ago. Yeah, yeah. So and also one of the other most important things that we've been looking forward to are it's extremely reliable, which means there's been zero downtime since the launch. So
Yeah, I mean,
what
reliability.
else do we? Yeah.
Reliability is what is, like, I mean, everything you said is spot on. Like, the thing I've said these in talks after talks after talks, is that the Elrond dev team, they don't just release something for the sake of releasing it. They spend the time, no bug left unturned. They make sure things are working, and before they even put it out into the world. And I think that's why the I don't know, the foundation of Elrond is so strong, is because we don't move forward, or the team doesn't move forward without knowing that the foundation has been audited, checked, tested, and all that stuff. And for me, as both a user, a partner, an advocate, an ambassador, community member, I would much rather people who do things the right way than go and half half do them, because it just, you see it out there every day. You see rug pulls, you see flash loan attacks, you see chains going down, notably a few ones out there most recently. And they're panicking to fix it because they didn't take the time to test and use the community around them. um, the other thing that, also, I mean, there's a 30% kickback on all smart contracts to the author as well, right? So that
Yeah.
escrow smart contract for you guys, is that little extra bonus, because you get to share 30% of the fees when that contract executes. So, um, yeah.
I mean, that's the least that we can do. I mean, the developer community is just amazing. They're like next generation of tools that are available by the whole Elrond community and by the Elrond guys themselves. So it's like this is the least that we can do to be part of the whole ecosystem. We actually, with Elrond, we all have a brilliant and like a very knowledgeable community in the whole ecosystem. That will pretty much make everything possible. I have no doubts about my team, about any team out there that's building with passion and with and and if they really want to do something great, then Elrond is the way to go. Just 100% there.
Yeah, and I mean you can see the passion in the Black Hat team, and give a shout out to like the MG staking team as well, and you can see the passion out there in the way you guys are interacting with the community, with the speed at which you're building, which is quite phenomenal. I think you guys had your MVP out in about 6 weeks. I think it was maybe even shorter, or 8 weeks. I can't remember. It was pretty quick though.
Yeah.
It was fast in terms of development. So, and I think the community is just seeing that and seeing the passion, and um, to speak for the community, I think we all recognize passion, and we all stand behind our own. And talking to you today, and having the community have a chance to hear you talk, I think it's only shining through even brighter. So that's incredible. Um, so let's move into into the community. Like, so you talked a little bit about the community, but how do you find the developer community as a whole, and has it been easy to work with?
Well, it's been perfect. Like in the I've me and Sugata, we've been on the Telegram community group. I'm right now talking about the developers community. Like there are so many amazing people out there. Like we've had 3 occasions where we had some problems with the bridge when we were creating the MVP, and the guys out there, which includes the some of the developers on of Elrond, they were like really fast, transparent with everything, and they gave us the hand when we needed the most. So it's like it's really nice to see a group of people helping each other. So that's what we have been doing as well. Like if there's something that we know and the others have problems with, we're always here to give a hand, to help wherever it's needed. That's how we all work together. It doesn't matter whether they are like our direct competitors, or they are just someone else that are building something on the Elrond blockchain itself. Like we don't even ask who is who at the group itself. Like everyone is trying to help as much as possible. I just love that at most. It's amazing. I have no words about that. And but when if you are talking about the community like as a whole, then it's like it's the most passionate community that I have seen in a while. So it's like everyone is happy to be part of the ecosystem that will most likely, I'm 100% sure, that will do a huge change in how the whole crypto world evolves in the next few years or even further. So it's like we are still early in the whole adoption. We are like, I'm pretty sure that Elrond will grow big, and all of the project that's building using them. Like right now, there are only few products brought up by the Elrond team, and there are like plenty of so many others that are coming in the next period of time. I just can't wait to be part of
Yeah,
the whole ecosystem that's
I,
upcoming.
I think the case study that's going to come out of all of this in the end, and the grassroots way of building the Elrond network and the Elrond community, is going to be something that people look back on and say, why didn't we think of that? You have to give mad props to all the Elrond team, the PR team, the communications team, the strategy, and all that stuff, strictly because of thinking of making this a community centered, grassroots, one step at a time project. There's all these projects out there with billions of dollars just throwing money at it, and they're breaking day in day out. They got people, they have toxic communities. They're always having to deal with people coming in and out. And for us, because we're working as a community, and this grassroots organic, more organic build, our
True.
foundation is just is incredible. No one's gonna budge. Like we because we know where we came from and how we got to where we are, and
True.
and we did it together. So that's awesome that you've also had the same feeling about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the main cause for all of the other chains and projects on the other blockchains, the main cause is probably because all of them are mainly focusing on money. So that's like for me, it's like the main thing that's making everything go sideways. So it's like if you're only focusing on the money and you're not passionate about what you're actually doing right now and the project that you're building and how your project will impact the other people in the future, like for me, it's just more than enough to see all the freelancers have their fairness, the fair share of the whole marketplace. Like if I only get just that, I'm happy with that. I'm just happy to make other people happy. That's more than enough. I mean, I have a company. I have 6 people in my company, and it's like it's coming. There's a point in time where you're coming, and you're asking yourself like, is the money the only thing that you want? So it's like, if you are really focusing on the money, it's nothing will work. So you need to do something great, and the money will follow afterwards. So
Very, very well said, because that's the Elrond spirit. We're here. Well, it's what I believe. I got into this for financial inclusion. I want to make sure that everyone out there has access to a financial system. I want to make sure that there's no one left behind. I want to make sure that people can generate wealth, and be part of. Maybe it's not necessarily about the money, but it's more about just the inclusion into the system. And
true.
and if you look around at all the partners and all the community, that's what's going on day in day out. Everyone's talking about, you know this is going to help people. This is going to give people things that they couldn't have. And I am very happy to hear you say that. And because as soon as things become about money, I mean, look at where we are in 2021, with crazy inflation, and money this, money that. Are things going to crash? Is your money safe? Banks charging more and all that. It's an absolute mess. But if you sit down and just take a minute to close your eyes and get rid of all the noise, you just look at the people out there who are passionate and who build with or without money, and they keep going, no matter what. And that's Elrond for me, and I think everyone in this community, and anyone who comes into this community. I take it when did you find Elrond?
Well, actually, I didn't know much about Elrond. It was when Eddie actually contacted me on Telegram, and he was like, "Hey, we are planning to build a marketplace. Are you in?" I was like, tell me more." He was like, "Hey, we're going to build it on a blockchain, and me and Marius. I mean, I'm just quoting him. Me and Marius, we are actually thinking that the best choice will be Elrond. He's doing really great with MG staking. He knows the community. He believes in the community." And I was like, "Okay, put me in the group. I want to have 2 words with the people there." And that's how everything started. So it was an amazing journey at the beginning, and I just love the guys. We are working as a team. We don't have any problems. It's like for now we're just only 2 developers there working on pretty much everything. But so far we didn't. We only had only one code conflict. Can you believe that? So far,
Oh, really?
like we're
Wow,
synced.
that's
We're
awesome.
synced.
And there's two core developers at this time.
Yeah, and we're the only ones.
Yeah, so I mean that goes to show you, with a little sweat and a bit of knowledge, how easy it is to build on the Elrond network. You have 12 years experience, and before this, you were saying it was C sharp, uh, and Visual Basic and all that sort of stuff. Python, sure, Python helped a lot. And you came in fairly quickly with another core developer, and you were able to work it out. And with the dev team, we're able to push out an MVP in relatively short time. So in terms of that, I'm going to call out there to any developer watching or anyone out there who knows any developers. Tell them this story. Like it's not as daunting as you think, and anyone who has a bit of programming knowledge on their head and has some experience will eventually get there. And the developers telegram group for Elrond is there, and they're there to be used. And as Victor said, they're very easy to help, or they're very willing to help. I mean, and whether they're a competitor or not, everyone's helping everybody because it benefits everybody in the end. So yeah, that's just really good story, and something that that I'm really happy that we're able to tell that to the world, because all if we reach one person today and they start building, that's a success. Obviously, I wish we reach more, but it's all about just reaching that next person, gaining that 1%, and the more 1%, the more one peoples we get in, or person we get in, then the more projects start popping up, and then avalanche that we're always talking about, is just going to grow bigger and bigger. And we're seeing that already with users and stuff. So it's just incredible to be part of this project, and also to hear stories like this. Okay, so let's move forward, and I think we can probably start taking questions. So if people want to start typing in questions, go ahead, and we'll start asking those. We have one here from Bogdan. He's saying, for services that will require some kind of storage, will the Black Hat handle this storage, or will it be the responsibility of the provider, or some kind of decentralized storage?
So yeah, that's a really great question. So the actual thing is here, as you all know, or maybe you don't know, sending a lot of data to the smart contract and the blockchain chain storage will actually cost more. So basically, what we're actually doing, and we're having some kind of a hybrid between the blockchain and our off-chain database. So nothing in terms of personal details like login and all of those sessions will be handled by us. So everything will be handled by the blockchain itself. But when it's coming about, when we're talking about the jobs, the job requests, and the data that needs to be stored, we are using the hash and the actual ID of the transaction within our off-chain database. So we are only storing the files that are not seen as sensitive information. So, for example, if you're having an ebook, that particular file will be encrypted on our off-chain data, because if you want to store, let's say, a 5 megabytes, which is impossible in bytes on the blockchain, it will cost a lot of fees. So it's like all of the data that it will be stored on our off-chain database on the backend service, and that's only for the jobs related stuff.
Awesome.
I mean, it has to be done that way.
Yeah, and it's actually more cost effective that way. Is
Yeah,
what you're
so
saying.
for everyone, yeah.
Okay, well, someone's asked me a question. It's actually Patricia. Anyways, sorry. So I'll answer it, I guess. I never get asked questions directly, so I think it's my first question directly to me. Anyways, so I got one for you. So it says, there's a great demand for devs in the Elrond ecosystem. What is Helios's view on hiring freelance devs on a project through the Black Hat Network marketplace? Well, that is a very good question, because I've been going back and forth with this. I've been on a few meetings with a few projects already, and the dev shortage out there is real. And unfortunately, I have a cousin who's in one of these outsourcing companies, and he says he has 150 projects just waiting for devs, and so there's a big shortage for devs out there. However, being the fact that I used to hire freelancers for SEO and all that sort of stuff, I think if there were devs on there with Rust experience, blockchain experience, and that sort of stuff, and that escrow contract was in play, I'd have no problem hiring someone to do kind of the heavy lifting. However, I do feel every project requires a CTO at minimum, and a potential project manager or a core dev. I've never been a huge fan of getting strictly projects done through freelancing. A lot of what I did when I was developing websites is I'd have someone build certain functionalities for me, but then I'd place it together, test it, augment it, and then make sure that it actually works. Because as we know with freelancers, it's very easy for them to do a job, get paid, then leave. Right? They're not as committed or passionate to the work. However, I do 110% believe freelancing is the way forward. But I would caution any project to ensure that they have a CTO like yourself, Victor, or a core dev, because if that does not exist, then you're going to have no checks and balances, and then you're going to be relying strictly on a freelancer's work in order to push your project live, which isn't, in my opinion, the best way going forward. I don't know if you have anything to say on that, Victor.
Well, that's pretty much true, and I just wanted to add on the question that uh, on the question where it asked about the shortage of devs. We are actually having in plans, like it's not shared with the public yet, but we had in plans to include educational portal on our marketplace where everyone that wants to start as a freelancer can go through the courses that we will provide there and have its own professional portfolio where he can learn all the flows and all the pros and cons of the marketplace world and be part of the marketplace itself, where people will be able to see how was everyone doing,
Yeah.
how was that particular freelancer doing in the past, and what kind of experience he has. So it's something that's still in discussion, and we'll most likely ask the community what they think about having such a feature, because most of the feature that we are going to implement into the marketplace will be voted by the community. So we believe in the community. We want the community to have part of each and every feature that we are going to have on the marketplace.
Yeah, and yeah, just to be more direct, Helios will and would use Black Hat Network. If the right person was there, and I think this marketplace idea of because there are some competitors out there in the traditional Web 2.0 world where you actually have to pass a test in order to give yourself a qualification. So the WordPress, just the WordPress forum alone, if you want to have a certain ability, you need to actually pass a bunch of tests for them to give you, your star or your badge, so that they know that you can do it as well. So I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, see, there's the problem. It's like if you just read between the sentences, it's like if you dive deeper, it's like the fiat marketplaces are giving you a test so you can get the badge. But what they are not giving you is the knowledge needed to be able to pass that test. So that's really important thing here. Instead of giving you a test to have the badge, why they don't give you the educational material to be able to pass the test and earn the badge?
Yeah, and that's kind of what your Google Ads will do. So when you become a partner with Google Ads, they actually give you all the info to study before you take the tests. So they
Yeah,
they
right.
educate you, and then you take the test. They just don't say take a
That's
test. So I think that's a
that's
really
really
good
important.
principle. That is very good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a question here from what? So what tech stack do you use, and what frameworks, and also hosting provider?
Well, currently that's an interesting question. So currently for the MVP, we are using serverless connection yeah, through Cloudflare pages. So that's pretty much everything is happening on the Cloudflare servers, which is cloud-based, and the builds are directly deployed from our GitHub accounts. That's something really interesting that we have written an article about that, which can be found on our Medium page of how everyone can have their decentralized applications connected with Cloudflare pages to make a serverless connection. So our MVP is totally powered by the Cloudflare pages, and we have no server out there. So whenever we are actually making a new build, it's directly deployed on the GitHub, and the Cloudflare is picking it up minutes after the deployment.
And you're using React.js?
We are using React.js and TypeScript, correct, for the MVP. But our token website it's just static files which are hosted on Namecheap for now, because
there's no need to do something that crazy before it has the functionality, right? So yeah. Good stuff. Okay, question: which programming language would you recommend for a newcomer? So there's some people who've answered, but I'd be curious for a newcomer on Elrond.
For a newcomer on Elrond, that's an interesting question. So it's like Elrond for the smart contracts. Elrond is recommending. I mean, we are all recommending Rust, but when it's about Rust, it's to be in Rust. That's how I would like to say. So if you're like a newcomer, then first, like if you have no knowledge about anything that's in terms of web design or decentralized applications, then I'll say just go from the very basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, and start from there. And then go to learn and start discovering new things regarding the frameworks, like whether that is React, Next.js, and all of those frameworks that are out there. Like with Elrond, it's possible to make everything to run through the blockchain. There are plenty of SDKs that are helping with making connection. The REST API is having a lot of information we're giving through the Elrond proxy, and you can pretty much start with anything, and you can end up being on the Elrond blockchain in no time.
Okay.
But only dedication will be the thing that you will need. So without motivation and dedication, it's not possible to do.
Well, yeah, and programming is not something you can just wake up in the morning and pick Rust and then start learning Rust, right? Like you have to kind of have a good mathematical brain about you. You kind of have to you have to understand a lot, and it's crazy to say, but just start with HTML and CSS. If you're just a brand new programmer and you just want to see how kind of things work, CSS and HTML, like it's super easy, but it's not. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not like a programming language, it's a markup language, but you need to start from somewhere. That's where I would start if I would go into web application and website. So that's where I would start off. So it's like if you're focusing mostly on like web application, websites, then start with the basic, with the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, and then start going further with whether that's Angular, React. If you're focusing mostly on front end, and then you just go with different kinds of things.
And I think that's a good point too. It depends where you're going. And like my background is markup, PHP, and whatnot. So obviously I'd say HTML, but I guess there's a whole other wealth of things that you could learn. So we have a question here that's probably more of a marketing based question, but I'm pretty sure you can answer it. So after the platform is launched, what are the plans to attract players on both sides, workers and people needing work done?
Well, for the marketing portion, Eddie is the actual guy that's handling everything, but we are right now we are focusing on having the action plan ready for the whole marketplace. And within that action plan, we have also sections for the marketing, which are still in discussions, because we are planning to be really big with this. We are trying to compete with the biggest fiat marketplaces, and it needs time to make like the action plan, which at this moment is massive. We have many scenarios, and we're having daily conversation, video calls, just going back and forth with stuff. So I can't give you an exact answer here, because it's still in discussion how we're going to have the whole process. Because, as you know, Eddie is from Digital Gets, because he's the owner there. He's doing magic behind his computer when it's about SEO and stuff. So he has connections, but I'm not pretty much into that sector right now. So I can't give any more concrete answer about that.
Yeah, and I think what I said earlier, for me, what would attract me would obviously be the fees, but also, as you know, as Helios, and you know, with a few things, few irons burning in the oven, you know, projects that we want to do, it would make sense for me to go looking somewhere like Black Hat, because it's an Elrond project, so you're going to have, you know, Elrond devs hopefully coming there, and I think if you just look around you, in the partners that are already with Elrond and the people who want to build, you know, you're going to get a lot of companies coming in looking, and then once there's people in there looking for jobs, you're going to notice, or looking for people to work for them, you're going to notice, and those other people will come in, and then the fees is just the cherry on top.
That's true.
It's all about how many listings you can get, and you know, that sort of stuff. So my advice would be to, you know, on launch, make sure you have a few good projects and companies that are going to list their jobs on there right away, so that you can say there's already this many jobs, and then, you know, when you launch, you're not trying to attract people straight off the bat. That's basically how I would do it.
Yeah, true. It's for us. It's very important to have a proper user experience and user interface. So we are trying to make. I mean, one of the main things that we focus is the layout of the marketplace, because we want to make everything to be as easy as possible for everyone, whether that will be a freelancer or a buyer that's not tech related. And we need to make everything like the whole layout. We are playing the whole layout to be just click and go, pretty much as the login is. So just scan with the Mayer application, for example, and just you're logged in. That's it. Simple, 3 seconds kind of work. So everything should be as easy as possible, as understandable by everyone, whether it's the freelancer or the buyer.
Great. Yeah. So I mean, if there's any more questions out there, we'll take them. But it doesn't look like we have any left. Uh, User what just said we don't use Next.js, and the answer is no. It's all TypeScript and React.js.
Yeah, for now, but we have discussion. That's why I mentioned Next.js, because we are also planning to have everything like starting from the bare bottom, where we are having discussion with Sugata whether we will be actually transferring the whole project to be based in Next.js. But that's still in discussions, and we are still trying to see what will be the best. We are comparing the pros and the cons of each framework and how we're going to get further, because this period is really important. The brainstorming, it's just the number one top priority right now, because what we actually brainstorm now will reflect in the next 5 or 10 years for sure.
For sure. And I have no doubt with the passion and the team behind you guys, that you're going to do well. So thanks for that. So yeah, I think we'll just end here. And on behalf of the community, as usual, you know, I just wanted to say, you know, a huge thank you for coming on, and telling us about the tech side of the Black Hat Network, and yourself, and many other things. I think this was a really good chance to put put a face to the tech side of the Black Hat Network, but as well talk about the Elrond network, and how easy it is to build, and that there's actually people out there, you know, taking that leap into Elrond and finding it quite easy. So I think this is an incredibly good story, and it's great to have you.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me. And we all expect you to leave feedbacks for the marketplace, and all of your ideas, like you and your the whole community. It's really nice to be part of it, and we all welcome your feedback for everything that you need. And really, thank you for inviting me over the Elrond Talks. It was nice talking here.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so just wrap up. We just had Viktor Martinovski, the CTO of Black Hat, here on Elrond Talks, episode 11. And yeah, we just talked about their network, and a few other things. And we hope to see you again. And to everyone out there who's watched, thank you so much, because we're nothing without the community. So again, thanks to everyone out there, everyone who's not here from the Black Hat community, and just anyone who watched. Thank you so much. See you next time. See you later, guys.
Bye bye.